So you got a listing, and then you get an offer. And now you're in the inspection period of time, and you get a call from the other agent with the 12 most dreaded words in real estate. Based on the inspection, the buyer is exercising his right to cancel this purchase agreement. And it's perfectly legal. It's written in a contract. The buyer can do that. So this is where your problems, well, begin. It gets complicated. Now, one of the complicated parts of this is that sellers, when you tell them this, they want to see that inspection report. They go, this lousy so-and-so, and there's, they're lying, and there's nothing wrong with my house, and I want to see this. Well, let's assume that this issue was you got a cracked heat exchanger in the house, and carbon monoxide is being emitted, and it's dangerous, and it can kill people, and it's a major league adverse material fact. And your seller wants to see this report. Okay, so once he gets this report, he's obligated now to modify his disclosure to say, oh, I've got a cracked heat exchanger, and I'm emitting carbon monoxide to the next buyer. And someone's going to make him get a new furnace. And many sellers, they go, nah, I've lived in this house for 30 years, and I'm still living, and I don't have any problem with this. And they're wrong. There is no crack in this heat exchanger, and I'm disclosing. Well, now your problems really start. One, you've got a situation where you could potentially be harmful to people, and number two, you got a seller who's refusing to disclose it. And this is where it gets really complicated for you as a licensee, is that now that there's an adverse material fact, there's carbon monoxide being emitted, you have to disclose it. You've got to go against your seller, and you've got to tell anyone who shows this house that, yep, we got a cracked heat exchanger, it's on this inspection report, and this is what the situation is. So where does your fiduciary responsibility come into this versus your obligation legally under the law? It gets really sticky. So you may now want to decide to have your seller get a hold of that inspection report. So let's say you decide not to do that. For me, this puts me in a moral situation where I'm conflicted, because I know a buyer walked away from a deal because of an adverse material fact, and I don't know what that fact is, and it could be serious. And I'm a straight shooter. I want people to know what I know when I know it. But if my seller refuses to take that report, I can't do that on my own. On the other hand, if I don't give them a report, you can always make the case saying, well, it's the buyer's responsibility now. If I don't tell them about this adverse material fact, they're on their own to figure out, to have it inspected and do their work. And it's not my responsibility. Now, you can make the case for it either way. But for me, I would go to my seller and say, here's the situation, talk about what could happen, what the ramifications are, and try to get their consensus. But you're going to end up doing what they want you to do end of the day. But if your seller asks for advice, my advice would be, get the report. Find out what the situation is. Disclose it if you don't want to fix it. But you don't want to have issues downstream. You don't want to be potentially dangerous to someone. I think it's better to know and report than to not know and kind of hide underneath, be behind the shield of not having to report it. So that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's be better today.